welcome to a Toku podcast. It's me, Zero, here.
Rye. Sorry. Welcome to Kamen Rider Zero-One, episode 27. Picking right up where we from last week, our human and human gear firefighters are going to rush into the building to see who can save the vice president of Hidden Intelligence in a actual burning building that caught fire. Because you know what? Thouser doesn't care if he's playing with people's lives or not.
I mean, Bowser never gave a shit about that. Also, my audio seems to be a little low. Um, but
How about now?
I'll have to check in a bit. But
Uh,
yeah, Bowser doesn't give a shit. Even like he's the only one still on board with this competition. Literally every single other main person in the episodes, like, this is such bullshit. Nobody has time for this crap. People might die. Right? I love how, like, literally every other character basically is like, this is such nonsense.
oh, I see what's going on with the audio mix being weird. It's this thing going on with OBS, and I don't know how to fix it. Sorry if you can hear my roommate in the background there.
Nope, I couldn't hear anything. Um, yeah, let's keep going. I'll just be closer. Actually, I could. No, I don't know. Am I, like, fully boosted on your end on Discord?
Yes.
Alright.
You weren't when we started, but I did boost you up.
Yeah, let me see if the audio is better on stream. Keep going.
Alright. So, uh, they track down the raider from who caught the building on fire, and Arto takes him out. He escapes before Arto can see who he is, but Arto picks up his dropped Zaya spec and hands that over to Fua like, oh yeah, you can just find out who he is now. Inside the burning building, the human gear determines that there is only one way to get to the victims, which is through a hallway that is on fire. It is too much for a human to make it through. And even he feels that the human gear would overheat if he tried going in. Meanwhile, Fua just realizes that there are people still inside the building, so he douses himself in a bucket of water and rushes in with Yua.
Yeah, the audio still seems low, but I'm boosting some stuff on my end. Hopefully it's okay, but that's all I can kind of do. I mean, I can mess with the mic, but, like, that could take way too fucking long. So I've just turned up some of the settings. Hopefully that's better. Yes, what were we talking about? Right, Fua just got the evidence straight off the bat. Yeah, that was nice that he's actually doing his job now instead of being some random second who does nothing. It's kind of annoying that, like, okay, first of all, that was a decent fight. I mean, you'd think, like, the sniper guy would have more of a, like, damage when he's just shooting, but, like, barely any damage to base form. Um, small nitpick, but it's also, like, that fight was pretty good with the monster. Well, at least, like, it makes Zero-One look good. Man, like, that sword is pretty, like, it's got decent powers and it's really useful. That, like, middle cluster form is super useful. It's just, it still kind of doesn't look super great, but it was okay. Yeah, and then there's just random smoke which he can't see through. I'm like, this is a rider form. Like, the one thing you should be able to deal with is, like, explosions.
Right?
Right? So I'm like that's a little too convenient, but at least he got the evidence. Um, because if he got nothing out of that, I would have been real pissed. But yeah, that's cool that like he just like, hey Fua, you're a cop, go deal with this shit. And then like Fua comes back the same episode and is like, yep, I figured it out. That was cool.
So we do get a scene between the vice president and his assistant where they're like, you know, if Zaya wins this contest, then they'll buy out Heat Intelligence. And so the vice president's just like, I want to live, but I don't want to lose my company. What an ambivalent feeling.
Yeah. See, there was that. I thought he meant where it's like that might. I took it more as like, well, what if like at any other point losing my company would have been important, but like when it comes to life or death situations, you kind of feel like all that shit is pointless, or at least that's what I was kind of getting at. Either way, you can read the scene both ways, but really good moment for these characters out of nowhere. Like I hope there's like character development going forward. For God's sakes, we finally got a name for the vice president's assistant.
We
Right?
did?
Like, holy shit. Also, is like the vice president's lackey like the most like relatable person out of the whole bunch? Right? Like, it's not even the vice president or the assistant. It's just that guy that nobody cares about. But like, he seems to be like the most decent human being, which is weird. But whatever. I can at least they got some development. Yeah, but that was impressive that they got a moment, honestly.
Speaking of character development, the human firefighter is ready to give up. Uh, there's no feasible way to get to the victims, and if he can't protect anyone if he's dead, so he's not going to throw his life away. He's calling it a loss. However, the Humagear is like, but you were the one who told me that every life matters, and goes through the fire, uh, tearing off a piece of debris that broke through the wall to create an opening for the others to be able to get through. Even part of the ceiling ends up collapsing on him, and he holds it up.
Yeah, dude, that was such a good scene. Like, holy shit, this is such a writer moment. I mean, the firefighter's right. It's like you can't, right? Like throwing your life away isn't gonna save people, right? You gotta live to save people.
You can't
So
save
that's a good
anyone if
point.
you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good moment. And then like the human gear has a really good moment. It's like I'm not alive,
Like,
right?
yeah, exactly. I'm not alive. Please go without me.
Right. But like, fuck, that was such a good scene, dude. That was such an awesome moment. Um, Honestly, like I was not expecting these characters to have this much development, but this second episode really developed like a lot of the secondary characters. Right? Like you get like Fua's competent again, Yua gets some story threads. The vice president's group actually gets character for once. Like both of the firefighters, like the AI and the human, get really good moments. So I'm like, that's pretty impressive, honestly.
And Aruto, who actually has his priorities in straight, when he does return to the scene, like, he thanks the firefighter, like, oh, thank you for saving them. First
Right?
thing on his mind.
Yeah, that's such a good moment.
Like,
Um,
not even concerned about who won the contest. It's like, oh, thank you for doing that. Oh, hey,
right,
where's... And then he realizes that Ichiichi Kiyunosuke is still in the building.
right, and then he goes and like brings him out,
Right.
like explains to you, it's like, hey, my employee was, worked really hard for me. I can't just abandon him. I'm like, oh man,
It's
this
not...
is fucking building to the UR plot right there.
It's not about replacing him because he's a robot. It's, hey, it's respecting the dead.
Yeah, kind of. well, I mean, he could technically still be rebuilt. We don't
Huh.
know if he's
Oh,
like
as long as he has a backup, they can just plug him into a new body designed to have the same appearance, since they keep those on record.
yeah, it's a good point. Plus, like he wasn't destroyed, so they could literally just take his hard drive and put it into a new body,
Assuming it didn't overheat.
right?
It was
Maybe, but
it
I'm not.
was in a fire. Like, I'd
Yeah,
say his circuit boards are probably fried.
yeah, but like, well, depends. If it's like a solid state drive, it could still survive. Because it has no moving parts.
Hmm.
Um, if it's like, oh, they're not gonna fucking use spinning drives, right? Like, they're like walking, talking AI. There's no way they're fucking using like regular hard drives for that shit. Um, whatever. Either way, it's a good moment. That was a really cool scene. Man, like Arto gets super serious this episode because like later on it goes to the next challenge and he's all like serious. And like I was expecting that to be in the next episode, but they're like leading in with that because it's like, yeah, the next one is a debate, and it's like, well, shit, guy can pretty much talk his way out of anything. Right? So Arto's like, fuck.
just just hire Decade. That guy can talk his way out of anything.
Oh my god, that's such a good point. No, you know what?
Or Kabuto.
It's pretty good. I was gonna say DN, but
DN.
okay. Oh man, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Deca writers are just like consultants. Well, they travel to different. See, that's one of those things, right? Like, if this was a connected writer thing, which they're not doing anymore, or they're trying to limit it, because new era and stuff, like this would be like one of those moments where it's like, hey, yeah, I could call that guy for help.
If this was Zio,
Yeah, if this was Zio, it'd be great. Um,
so
then again, it's not. It's better.
yeah, we did the Zio over Quartz movie podcast, and like, there's something cathartic about going back and watching Zio again and realizing, yeah, no, this is still trash.
That's great. See, I didn't know you guys were gonna do that. I was like, oh, I look in the. I'm setting up this week's things. I'm like, wait, what? When the fuck did we do this podcast? That's pretty great, though.
We did it last weekend, and Vashi wants to try and do Greece this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try watching Grease. May maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Usually I watch. Well, it is Wednesday. I usually watch Picard either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. But yeah, Grease movie apparently is really solid. So
I expect so. Greece was one of the better characters in Build.
yeah, that's true. Anyway, back to this.
Back to this, Thouser is already claiming his victory. Like, alright, that makes 3 victories for us. Majority rules. I win. I'm gonna buy out your company tomorrow. Enjoy your day. And then the firefighter fucking cuts him off. Like, wait, no, I didn't win that contest. I couldn't have saved those lives without the human gear.
Yeah, and I love how like Yuo basically backs him up. Is like, hey, maybe you should listen to what he's saying.
And
Or,
then
like his opinion should be considered, and he's like, I didn't ask for your opinion.
and she
Right, like,
she not only shuts up, she apologizes, which Aruto and Izu.
dedicated.
Well, Aruto and Izu are notably shocked by that because, like, hold on, she never cowers to anyone.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, she just like melted off to her boss. So this is a very like, hey, you don't talk to your superiors like that, especially not a Japanese company superior. Moment. But you're right. Like like, goddamn, she's like an abuse victim at this point. Like, get away from this asshole. Right? Like, literally everyone can see it.
Because remember that Aruto has been running his company under the philosophy of listen to everyone's opinions and treat them with respect. And so just the way that Thouser treated Yua in that moment of like, you only speak when spoken to, was a shock to him. Of like,
Yeah.
wait, people act like that?
Well, the thing is, like, he doesn't want to be CEO, so like he's not used to that. But then again, like even the vice president doesn't act like that. So yeah, you're right. It's pretty shocking to him. Um, like going back though, we do have moments with Yua in this episode because like it begins and she's like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Right? Like because she's all like sweaty and shit from like trying to help people, and then like Bowser said, "Don't help people," and then Fua shows up and is like, "Are you fucking serious right now? Like he's a writer. Come on, right?"
Actual lives are on the line. Fuck your
Yeah,
noise.
yeah. At first, oh, also like Fua just dumps a bucket out. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "All right, fire." But I'm like, Yua doesn't have any protection.
I honestly
Um,
am shocked they didn't henshin.
yeah, that's true. I was like, okay, they're just gonna go in rider form. It'll be fine. But no, they were in like full civilian form, running through an inferno. Yeah, that was insane. Um, but definitely feels like you was kind of just fucking had it at this point, or pretty much she's just like, this is not working. Everybody can see this is not working. Like, why don't you just go work for Aruto at this point, right? Like, or go back to Ames. Like, Fuwa would totally just like add you back to the squad.
Probably.
Yeah, but like Ames is technically funded by Zaya, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it wouldn't really work out. But at least like she's trying to break free. It's weird considering she gets a thing, which doesn't make sense because that implies these idiots are gonna be around for a little bit longer.
So
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
so with that whole like I didn't ask your opinion thing, then Fuwa walks in like, yeah, how about my opinion as a cop? Your team cheated again.
Yeah. Also, audio is still real low for some reason. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But
I have
then
everything turned up as much as I can.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like even I tried to do it, it didn't make a difference. So like I don't know. Um, it's fine. Hopefully they can hear me. I'm trying to be pretty close to the mic. Like I could maybe turn up the gain on the mic, but then it might start peaking. Like it sounds like I'm starting to peak, even though I'm really quiet. Um. Anyway, yeah. It's great that like Fua shows up and he just like, what? You're a piece of shit. You're just gonna try to destroy evidence now. And he just like straight up was like, no hesitation, like, okay, I'm just gonna take you out now. Right? I'm like, well, Fua got over his fucking shit real quick, but at least it makes sense. And then he gets his shit kicked in because, like, yeah, Bowser's still super strong. Oh man. And then, oh, actually, no, we forgot to talk about like why all this is happening. Is we find out that the person who's been making the raid risers, was that just for this episode or for before?
They were being made by Zaya. Period.
Oh, we know that, but like, was this guy the one who's been doing it at all? No, that's not true
Um,
because
he
he's asleep.
works. He works for the development department, so it's possible he was on the team that helped make them, but he could have also been on the team making the Zaya specs.
Yeah, it's true.
Or, again, they make the weapons for Ames, so he could have been a weapons manufacturer.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So
Plus, I love how his reasoning is like, hey, I just wanted to help you out, President. And like, guy's pretty much ready to just shoot the guy at this point.
it's like, yeah, great, you got caught. You're useless to me.
Right? It's not even that like, oh, good job for the help. It's more like, you idiot. How could you get caught, right? And then when that happens, he's like, oh, you have evidence now? Okay, great. Whatever.
Let me
I'm just gonna
destroy
take you out.
that. Here, let me. Oh, you have evidence? Hold on, let me see that real quick. Could I just take a look?
Dude, this is one of those problems, right? Remember we have like cameras that people use in this show? What is like you are the only one who's allowed to record shit that the news can see?
Also, with that whole like you have no physical proof of that, this is not the first instance of this of like of people with the Zaya going out of control with the raid risers. Like that shit would be on the news. Like I get that
Yeah,
like
it's
they don't have any actual evidence tying the raid risers back to Zaya, but like still, they got more than nothing.
yeah, it's true. But maybe you could say like Zaya's pumping enough money into the corporations to bury the news. We never have any indication of that, but like Zaya does have enough money to do it. But again, there's no indication that they are doing that. So this is one of those annoying things where it's like because Guy's so much in the field, as opposed to when he was early on. Like early on, you could buy that like, oh, he's pulling shit behind the scenes when we're not looking at him, right? Because like you just have like Fua and Yua in the field, but now he's just like front and center.
Eh.
So I'm like, nobody's covering your
Cause like
tracks. It's just people aren't being smart.
it's like because Bowser's argument is like, oh, the raid risers are humanity's defense against the dangerous human gears. Naruto steps up like, but they've been used for evil. To which Bowser says, you have no proof of that. To which I say, how's about that guy that fucking blew up houses? How's about that guy that fucking like tried to kidnap a woman? Like,
Right, it's a good point. I mean, to be fair, he like the whole thing of like, okay, the right riser are humanity's defense thing. That could have been an interesting plot, but we got it so far late in the thing. All we've seen
like
is it being used for evil.
like
Like, there's no
it's
indication of like it's not the right watch or not right watch. It's not the right player gas shots from X8 where it's like you see some of them being good,
excuse me,
right?
right?
Right. Like there's no indication any of them have been used for good. So it's like
Yeah,
pointless.
because like if because like all of them have been used to make the human gears go out of control. None of them were used in defense of a human gear going out of control.
Right. It's real fucking stupid. And that also explains why Jin shows up. He's pretty much just had it with
It's
Bowser's
like,
bullshit.
oh, everyone's. He's like, look at you. Metsubo Jinrai stopped being active, and you humans are still fighting each other. This is why you're worthless.
Dude, that was such a good moment. Also, there was like a small scene where he. Oh no, that happens afterwards. Where it's like he gives Hirobi his key and is like,
Yeah,
okay, later.
that's the
We're done
whole.
now.
That's the whole thing. Is that like he was fighting Bowser? It's like, hey, you have Hirobi's key. I'm taking that back now.
Right. That's isn't that the thing he uses to henshin?
Hirobi, yes. Sting Scorpion.
No. I mean Bowser.
No, Bowser used it as a finisher in against Fua here, but he didn't henshin with it. He uses
Okay.
amazing Arsino and Awakening Kakaskus, I think, or the reverse of
Okay.
those possibly. But yeah, he uses a beetle and a rhino, an extinct rhino that had two horns.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That's why he
Um,
has the five horns.
hmm, makes sense. Um, yeah. Anyway, so what happened? Everybody calls Bowser out on his bullshit. Bowser says, "I'm gonna just do whatever I want anyway," and then Jin shows up and they have an awesome fight.
Yep.
Holy shit! Like, I'm actually kind of impressed that Bowser was able to stand up to Jin so well. But even then, they were like, okay, I feel like Jin's slightly less powerful than Bowser, but like they're pretty damn close. Like that was an intense match.
Uh,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah. I
but
mean, I also love that shot with the finisher where they land their like rider kicks, and then they like try to do a second rider kick thing, and then there's that like cool ass explosion shots. Like, whoever shot that did such a good job.
Oh yeah, this
But
fight was easily one of the best we've had.
I mean, honestly, like I actually kind of thought that like Bowser was gonna drop dead because I'm like Jin's just here now. Nobody cares about this Bowser plotline anymore. Um,
Yeah, the problem was that they took a break from the 5 round contest to do
right.
something else. They should not have done that. Because when they finally got back to it, we lost interest.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's as we've said, like it's not okay. Like the problem is like Bowser broke his own rules, so he became less interesting.
Right, I liked it when it started out and he was refused to win by cheating, but then he just kind of gives up and starts actively cheating on his own.
Yeah, like I feel like the one character who's just written to move the plot along is Bowser, and that's kind of weakening the show at this point. Like not Guy, like Guy kind of has okay points, but like whenever he has to henshin or use Bowser, like the plot gets real stupid. You know what I mean? Um, Whereas like when it's just Guy and he's not doing writer shit, it's relatively okay. Um, yeah, this is just one of those cases where it's like, okay, we have this point in the story we have to get to, and these are the characters we have to work to get there. Well, the only guy who can force the story to get there is like Bowser, because we don't want to introduce like Matsubo Jinrai again because they're gonna be, like the villains of the next arc or whatever.
Yeah, Terrorist Phase 2.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, like really cool fight.
Well, not really Terrorist anymore. Maybe Terrorist again, but it's not really Metsubo Jinrai so much as it'll be Jin playing his own side.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting depending on who the hell built him because Hirobi was clearly built by Zaya.
Well,
But
no.
he still looks like old Hirobi, which means like, okay,
Oh, he was
maybe the
fixed,
arc.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But that was
yeah.
just a lot of patchwork.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So maybe the arc rebuilt Hirobi, but like Hirobi doesn't. Oh
No,
no, Jin.
Jin's not connected to the arc anymore. Whatever happened to Jin, it wasn't the arc.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, so this is gonna be interesting when that comes. I mean, clearly it's gonna be the other member, whoever that ends up being. But
The
I
mis-
feel like as soon as we've revealed that, we're gonna transition into the next arc. So that's probably why they're holding off on revealing who the hell
right.
that is.
Finish off the 5 round contest and then move on to the fourth member of Metsubo Jinrai.
I feel like that's just a two-parter, and then we're into the next arc.
Probably. They've all been 2 bars. I could see this one being a 3-parter, in that
Going
like
on to 30.
it's a big special event, but honestly, like I don't think they have enough material to keep it a 3-parter.
Yeah, I mean honestly, like it would have been interesting enough, but the way the preview for next episode looks, it's like, oh
I
no, they're just gonna do it the most cheesy way possible.
I maintain I'm shocked that the firefighter contest was a 2-parter.
Dude, it's true. It's because nothing interesting happened in this episode. I mean, there's like one moment, but that's just the thing that gets
So
called back to in this episode.
so
Where it's like, oh, you're the one who taught me that human life's important. That's about it. Like, nothing else important happened last episode.
if Bowser is going to be consistent about one thing though, it's his hatred of the human gear. So he says, "All right, I'll give you the win for this one because my employee interfered." Refuses to acknowledge everything about how the human gear like made the rescue possible.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, to be fair, that's very like how douchebag politicians or company leaders act. Where it's like, I'm just gonna protect my brand. I don't even have to acknowledge your brand. even though I lost, like, I don't care. I'm just gonna concede the point here and move on. I'm not gonna say why I lost, but it's like it happened, it's done, next thing. You know,
So,
they're like just trying to save face and minimize it, even though they're like
right.
clearly fucked up.
So, the final round. Uh, they pitched to the government like, "Hey, why don't we rebuild Daybreak Town? You know, the test-run city of humans and Humagear living together." And that the development is approved by the government, but the actual approval is going to come from a public vote.
Yeah,
And
so I'm guessing they're going for a referendum, which is fair enough
so,
for something as big as this. Also, it feels like Hidan made the first one once, where it's like we're setting the ground, where it's like okay, Daybreak Town, because it feels like Bowser is just reacting to what Hidan did, but I don't know.
I assume that Bowser did this because, hey, do you want to live in a city alongside Humagear? Do you want to live alongside those machines that have been going berserk and attacking humans lately? Do you want to live next to something that could just decide to attack you at any given moment in constant fear of how powerless you are against it?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that explains why they're going with the whole basically like political, like basically political campaign angle next episode, pretty much, because it's just like fear mongering versus
That
like
that's
future and hope. But I'm like, unfortunately, in the real world, fucking goddamn fear mongering works.
that's what I'm pretty sure Bowser has been building up to this for as the tiebreaker because it's like, hey, I've been making Humagear go rampant left and right. Why would the vote? Why would the public possibly vote for something they are afraid of?
Oh, okay. So like the standard conservative
Because
playbook
like,
of like self-fulfilling prophecy is like, hey,
right,
look, we have to privatize now because the public sector takes too much money and is garbage. I'm like, that's because you cut all the damn jobs and like they're funding you, dipshit. No, it's terrible. We should just give it to the private sector. They'll do a better job. I'm like, so you're just gonna hand money to people you know,
exactly.
and
Like,
the only reason they're gonna do a good job is because you're not actively fucking them over.
Hiden's stocks were plummeting because people weren't buying the Humagear because they thought that they could just go rogue at any time, and only started to go up when they developed the quote unquote cure through Meadow Cluster Hopper. But hey, are you gonna trust one man to constantly protect you all the time? Do you really
Uh,
put that much faith in the president of Eden, who has so much to take care of as it is and is super busy all the time?
well, I don't know if they know that he's Kamen Rider, but yeah,
Uh,
you're right. It's a good point. It's basically like, well, short of Superman, like you can name any other superhero. The city's like, okay, maybe the Flash, maybe.
yeah, the Flash. I would give
Yeah,
that.
like right, like there's like two.
uh, I,
Everybody's like, okay,
I,
cool. That guy's in town. The city's fine.
I'd also give you
Then
Superman because he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I had a feeling this would happen, which is why I prepared like a time vortex in a black hole a few light years away, so that I could be in two places at the same time." Because
that's a good point.
Superman is the fucking worst.
I mean,
because
it's mostly because it's a bad analogy. It's like, oh right, like superhero created by two Jewish guys to be Moses, taken by people who think he's Jesus. So that's basically his whole thing of show them the way, right? Is the whole Moses thing of like be the good example, right? And that's what like Superman's supposed to be, but except like all the other writers didn't realize that, so they're just doing the Jesus thing of self-sacrifice. And it's like, no, that's like completely the wrong message, you dipshits. No wonder you can't write Superman. Right? He's just supposed to be this shining example of and trying his best to help people, not being like the absolute authority of like supreme morality or some shit. And the problem is when you start chasing that, that's when just become really boring ass Superman. Because like, how do you write a perfect character? Because like you're focusing on the morality instead of just the hey, I'm trying to help people. Anyway, yes, random nonsense about Superman aside. Um, this was good. Weird that it was a two-parter. Uh, Next episode preview doesn't look super good, but I feel like we're finally getting close to the end of this Bowser shit. So good on that. But like, let's say, I mean, of course, like he probably has to win because like they're not gonna be like, all right, Arto, goodbye Humagear, right? It's like, well, I'm pretty sure there's no plot if that happens, right? But the whole thing of like, well, it's gonna be a city of humans and Humagear living together, and then you're gonna have Jin trying to like make the Humagear rebel to be free, and Naruto trying to make a society where they can coexist. That'll be interesting if that's what they're setting up.
I wonder if they're setting up like oh man, like a Takumi versus Kiba situation with Arto and Jin.
Oh, dude, that'd be really interesting. Uh, the problem is like Jin. Okay, maybe they'll give him character. It's like the reason why Kiba is so interesting is because we spend so much time with Kiba, but like Jin, we barely know. Like he's real cool and all since he's come back, but he's gonna have to become like a main cast member and not just like a reoccurring guest star for him to carry that plot line through. I mean, it would seem like that because like they brought him back, they gave him a new suit and everything. Um, then again, we do know there are some new forms and things coming, so maybe Bowser might stick around longer than we think, which would be annoying, honestly.
Um, I don't think like he'll go away for good. I just hope he doesn't turn into Dan.
Oh God, fuck that! I don't want like Guy being a good guy would just totally destroy all the momentum in this
Or
show.
okay, all right. You know what? That wouldn't happen because his whole thing is, like fuck the
He
human
hates
gear.
him. Yeah,
So
right.
so I'm gonna make a different one. I hope he doesn't become evil.
Well, the thing is, like, we have better villains just waiting right there, so that's not likely to happen, right? Like, even the show feels like it doesn't want to Bowser for too long. Like, he could become like Gentoku maybe, where it's like, why are you even this damn arc Gentoku when he comes back, right? Um, so yeah, he might just stick around a little bit longer. I could see Zaya still being around because technically they did help build um, Daybreak Town, so maybe they could be around. But I'm like, Yua exists. There's no reason for Bowser to be around because they basically fulfill the same purpose. Then
Um, so next week's episode, title: My rap will change the world.
oh god, it looks so terrible. I mean, it could still work, but it's just Japan trying to be. Oh man, like trying to be hip and cool. Basically, I'm like, no, Japan, just stop.
And like, it's a Humagear that's rapping too. That is the Hiden representative in the debate.
All right, okay, so I could kind of see the logic in this. It's like you have and you gotta
Sorry.
win over a crowd. Like that's a good premise. The problem is it's a Humagear, so it's like
No, I think a human gear representing themselves is a great point to show that like this is what human gear are like. Like, hey, I'm a human gear and this is what I'm like.
Yeah, it's a good point. I just thought it'd be something more like serious. Like you would see somebody like Bingo
Like, yeah,
or something.
that's exactly it though. A rapper, I don't think is the best approach for you know this kind of decision.
Right. I mean, I
I
can
guess
see, I
I
can see Arto picking him because
guess
Arto's inexperienced.
I guess if you're trying to like yeah, like you said, get a crowd hyped up for something, then yeah, that this would be a good way to do it. But I would have gone with Bingo.
Yeah. Um. Exactly. They're kind of trying to do a hearts and minds thing, but I'm like, okay, that could have worked had this character already been established, like running a radio station, like in Gaim,
Oh, that would have been good.
and then you just pull him in to be like your linchpin number 5 representative. That would have been good, but they didn't. So this kind of feels a little weird, and especially because he has to win. Otherwise, like there's no
Yeah,
more Hida.
right. Looks like I'd be interested in the concept of like, all right, what if Arto does lose? What if he loses his job? What then? How does he get it back? Climb back up from that? But if from there Zaya or Thouser just starts pulling the plug on Human Gear entirely, it's like, where do we go with this? Like nowhere.
I mean, it might cause Jin to act, but I'm like Jin already acted. Like he already kicked Bowser's ass. Especially now with like Gene and Hirobi could both show up. Like nobody's gonna back up Bowser, right? Like they might stop him from getting murdered, but they're not gonna stop him from getting his belt destroyed. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Hopefully it's one of those cases where like the preview just shows the fluff and something really interesting happens. Um, Considering it's close to the end of the arc, I'm feeling like two of the two-parter, but we'll see. Any other thoughts?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm good too. Anyway,